All right. I am really excited to have the founding team of Iman Invest here with me today. This is actually our episode one of a series of podcasts I'll be doing called The Rise of Islamic Fintech. Right, Islamic Fintech is an area that I'm very excited about, and hopefully we'll talk a little bit about why. But more importantly, I wanted to hear your story of what you're doing with Iman Invest, your own entrepreneurial journey, your vision, right, for your startup and for the overall Islamic fintech industry, and what are some of the cool things that you're doing. All right, so we'll spend the next 40, 45 minutes together. I was really looking forward, to doing this. So Rustom and Shahzad, thank you for joining me today. I know you guys have been in the Bay Area this whole week for TechCrunch Disrupt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Friday morning. We are here at a studio in San Francisco. We have the Golden Gate Bridge right, behind us. And appreciate. I know you guys. You're going to Saudi. You're going to London. Appreciate you guys joining me. So to set the stage for our conversation today, if you could tell our audience a little bit about what Iman Invest does.
Yeah, first of all, thanks a lot, Tanvir. I'm super excited to be here in San Francisco. I really like this place. It's like the mix of different things, technology, innovation, like different kinds of people, culture. So what we are building at Iman Invest with our team is a digital neobank, which has several products that are interest-free. And our founding team is truly inspired by the principles of Islamic finance. So all of our products are built in such a way that is strictly and 100% Sharia compliant. But it is not exclusively built only for Muslims. Why? Because interest, it's it's a religion agnostic problem, right? And 5 years ago we started Iman, and as of today we serve around 100,000 users that are active.
So these are your clients, right? 100,000 clients.
Yes. So basically today we've got three products. First is Iman Invest, which is interest-free deposits or interest-free profit-sharing investments that people use through our mobile application, which is called Iman Invest. Soon it's going to be global, but currently we are serving only Uzbek citizens. And the second product that we have is interest-free buy now pay later scheme, which is basically the asset class for Iman investors. So we manage the funds of investors that invest through Iman Invest, invest it into installment sales transactions, and whatever the profits are from buy now pay later, we redistribute it to investors. And the third product that we currently have is interest-free payments, which is basically the P2P payments. Soon we're going to launch cards as well, which are 100% Sharia compliant as well. None of the funds that are stored in the cards are used in riba transactions. So what we are building and what we've built in Uzbekistan, we are scaling globally, and the next market that we envision is US. Why? Because once again, we are not exclusive to Muslims. Yes, there are around 4 or 5 million Muslims in US, but we are targeting everyone who chooses responsible, ethical, interest-free finance.
Beautiful. This is even more exciting to hear. So it's a neobank, so you offer services that a typical retail bank will offer anywhere in the world, or a credit union, right?
Yeah.
Then you have another category which is buy now, pay later. And if I'm not mistaken, Tabby in Saudi Arabia became a unicorn, right?
Yeah.
So that itself is a big market you're in, right? And then the third, even more exciting, is you're in the payment space. All right. Well, this is great. I think we'll delve a little deeper into that. Here's my commercial for the overall Islamic fintech industry, right? You'll probably agree to this. Like in a country like Malaysia, there's a lot of non-Muslims who buy Islamic finance products, right? Because you mentioned one is they like the fact that it avoids speculation. There's more transparency, or sometimes it is because of that shared risk between the lender and borrower, right, or the investor investee, and then of course riba, right? I think for Muslims, riba as an interest or usury, high interest, that is, a big no-no. But there's other aspects that attract non-Muslims. It may not be so much about, they may not have a restriction about interest, right? But there's other there's other things that appeal to them. In the U.S., one of the largest Islamic finance mutual funds, right, Amana Mutual, close to 7 billion in assets, but most of their success comes from Wall Street, right? So the investors, they don't care about the Islamic finance part, but for them it's the return.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very glad that you have the bigger vision. Obviously, if you look at it globally, there's 2.2 billion consumers, Muslim consumers. But I think when you have something that is for everybody, it's even more appealing, right? Now, we'll come back to business itself, but for the benefit of our viewers, tell me a little bit about your roles as well, right? The founding team, who does what?
Yeah, so in the founding team, there are 4 chiefs. I am the CEO. Shahzad is Chief Data Officer. Yeah. We've got a Chief Operation Officer as well, COO, and Chief Collection Officer. Right. So there are 4 of us. And we also have the team of 150 people in Uzbekistan, which is 50 engineers and around 100 operational, like sales, collection, customer service, and other departments. So my job is basically, first of all, is recruiting, like get the best out of best there, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000 best professionals, believers first of all, secondly professionals, and that's what I do like always, right? Looking for team members. And the second part of my job is fundraising, always looking for investors who want to join our movement. We are constantly fundraising because we are constantly growing. And the strategy, calibrating the product, calibrating the strategy, calibrating the HR strategy, marketing strategy, product strategy. That's what I do. And Shahzad?
Yeah, as the chief data officer, my main responsibility is ensure the transparency with consumers, with the data, with the analytics we provide. So we don't only use the data for our own purposes for growth, but also we use data and advanced analytics to provide the transparency for our customers, because we're inspired by Islamic finance principles, but in reality, currently what we have in the market is the trend that consumers want transparency. They want to understand how their funds are utilized in a good way. They want to make sure that it's not going to finance something bad or, yeah. And another part of my responsibilities are ensure that we're first of all product-led and data-driven company. We are trying to make every decision based on data. And I'm trying to also hire best of the best in data science, machine learning. We utilize AI heavily. We have a risk management team that heavily relies on machine learning and the data. I also ensure that we have access to all the data sets, to partners that can share the data with us. Yeah, that's my part of it.
Very cool. Now, going back to Islamic finance, and then we'll talk a lot about your business itself. What prompted you to start, do a startup in the Islamic finance, Islamic fintech landscape, right?
Yes, back home in Uzbekistan 5 years ago, I used to be the investment associate in one of the family offices.
And in the family office?
In family office, yeah. And we were given the task to analyze the banking sector, and we wanted to acquire one of the banks. And
in Uzbekistan?
Yes, in Uzbekistan. So while analyzing it statistically, while analyzing the market, I've studied many reports, and I found out that only 4% of population in Uzbekistan, 40 million people population, only 4% and only 3% ever deposited and ever borrowed from banks. Like super
And
low
Uzbekistan is a
bank
country
penetration.
of how many million?
40 million.
40.
Yeah,
That's-
like 36 to be
That's,
exact.
that's the
37.
biggest country in Central
Yes.
Asia, right?
Yes, yes.
So
And
3%
fastest
is
growing.
banked.
In terms of population density, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like 5 years ago. Currently, it's 10%. But at that time, what was even more exciting is that I found out that the main reason is religious principles, and that the products currently in the market are not built in such a way that are in compliant with the ethical beliefs of consumers, right?
Now, and not to
So-
cut you off, but just to understand this better. So the banking sector in Uzbekistan predominantly is interest-based.
Yeah,
It's
40 banks,
fully.
40 banks, 0 Islamic banks.
Okay.
So there is no even regulation for Islamic banks like in US, right? So the Amana, the Salam Bank in US are working under the traditional banking system, avoiding riba, but sometimes doing istisna, like but anyways, in Uzbekistan as well, the situation was 5 years ago, and what was even amazing for me is that being a financier, studied in Oxford Books back in UK, being a Muslim and being very interested in new technologies, innovation, I didn't know about the concept of Islamic finance, like nothing. Like every other Muslim right now, I knew that the interest is bad. That's it. Super high level knowledge, and I was a little bit, not a little bit. I was really embarrassed by, first of all, not knowing. Secondly, doing nothing about it. And thirdly, I was amazed that Islamic Fintech, Islamic finance is just intersection of three. My profession, my religion, and my passion. So, so then Iman was born. I just started, searching for the product, searching for the product that will comply with my vision, with my mission. And it started off similar to Amazon, like it was found statistically as well, but with the deep mission and deep willingness inside to serve, to solve this problem. And in the beginning, it was just P2P marketplace. Just
You operate as a B2B marketplace?
at that
No.
time.
Okay.
The proof of concept was P2P marketplace. Then it's changed to P2P lending platform. Then it's changed to the shopping mall with the buy now pay later. Then, like with the several iterations, it's like what you have right now with Iman Invest, these three products is like maybe 100th version of the product, right? With the constant iterations. So yeah, like Shahzad said, we are super product-led company. Yes, we are driven by the mission. We are driven by the noble principles of our ethics, of our culture. But it's all about product. It's all about building the great product. And one of the features of greatness is ethics, right? That's what you don't have today in fintech products. Revolut, Monzo, like this kind of, great products, but they don't have that feature of ethics. When users can really change the world around themselves by transacting, by increasing the non-interest banking, non-interest economy, ethical economy, rather than just using a great UX, great looking product. right? So Shahzad and our engineering team, product team, is always looking for those, margins to improve the customer experience, not just build the ethical product. It's like food, the food is by default needs to be halal, right? But it also needs to be tasty. It also needs to be like, needs to have all those features to be great.
No, that's a good analogy. And Shahzad, I'll come to you, in a minute with some of the things that you're doing with data and all of that, right, and what you're seeing. Yeah, the irony is that while, at least within the Muslim faith, people go out of the way to avoid, haram food, right? Like pork is out of question, right? The very thought of pork is like, how dare you, you serve that to me, right? If someone doesn't know, right? But it comes to financial services, that level of awareness is not there about riba and what the Quran says about riba, right? So we made it our mission to to educate on what I do with my entity, the Halal Money Forum, is we want to put the spotlight on the startups and the entrepreneurs behind the startups, and sort of be the evangelist for Islamic finance and Islamic fintech, and then also continue that do the education aspect, right? So the Muslim community globally, as well as non-Muslims, see the value of Islamic finance, right? And along the way, we were hoping we could help the startups in different ways, raising funds for them, adding value to them, helping them go to market, etc. So I'm really excited about what of having this opportunity to do that. Now going to, it sounds like you made. I'm very impressed to hear that, right? 150 people, you had 3 product lines. Are you already the most well-known fintech in Uzbekistan and like the biggest one already?
Yes, yes, I think because unfortunately, the Islamic fintech market is only 400 globally.
Startups, right?
Startups.
Yeah, you probably
Uzbekistan,
follow
we are
the
the only
IFN
one.
fintech list.
Yes.
Yeah. I use that a lot. Yeah, as a reference.
Yeah, and like 95% of them are early stage, like they're born like
Very early.
recently. Yeah, very early.
Yeah.
3 years ago, that list was comprised of 200 fintechs, and none of the fintechs is building, the product, which is both providing the interest-free service for depositors, interest-free service for those who need funding, halal funding, and those who need halal payment options, right? There are great fintechs there that are serving one problem at a time, right? For example, Wahed, for example, right? They're doing really good in the investment sector. Tabi, installment, like Musafa as well, investment.
Where is Mustafa based out of? Middle East?
Musafa currently is, I think, in US. It's US headquartered, but it's very similar to Wahed.
Okay.
So we need that, super app, like that Bazi word, but we need a one-stop shop for Muslims so that they, so that 1% of Islamic halal economy in the whole banking sector grows to 2%, 3%, to 50%. That's our mission.
Yeah, it's actually sad. I mean, it's good. It's I think total assets, when I last looked it up in the Islamic financial services sector, is like 4 trillion, right?
The whole, including corporate, including sovereign funds. If you deduct those, if you compare apple to apples, retail banking to retail banking is less than 1%.
So are you overall optimistic that will seriously grow?
You wanna say something?
Yeah,
Yes.
what does the data tell you?
So in terms of data, we're really optimistic about the prospect because in the world there are 2 billion Muslims, and it's quarter of the global population, and there's only 1% of the banking system is for Muslims, right? And there is a huge discrepancy, and we believe that we can shift this ratio, and the reality is that 80% of Muslim population in the world are unbanked because they're afraid of the banks, they're afraid of
To transact. Yeah.
cultural and religious consequences of using that, and but they need that product because we live in a global world. We have digital economy, and it offers a lot of conveniences to end users, to consumers, and why they can't use that? Why they can't have access to finance products? And the reality is that the current solutions in the market don't resonate with their values, and it's a difficult task for us to first of all to strictly adhere to the principles of Islamic finance, but meantime make accessible, attractive product for users. And we believe that with current technologies, with current resources available in the world, we can make that work.
Gotcha. Now, if it's okay with the two of you, I'll switch a little bit into rapid fire mode because there's a lot of questions I want to
Yeah.
ask you guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
and we'll try and get accomplish as much as we can, right? Shahzad, maybe you can help me with this, right? So it's a two-part question. What is your demographic like? Are you all attracting mostly a younger demographic, or is it across the board? Number one. Number two, how does the process work, right? Like someone wants to learns about your product, they will go download. Just walk, quick answer. How do you just walk me through?
Right.
And it's a two-part question.
So
right? Yeah.
starting from the first part, in terms of demographics and our strategy, yes, we're trying to mostly acquire the younger generations because in our market, they're more open to learn about these ethical options. Uh, it's in Uzbekistan the average age is 26 years old. It's
Young
quite
country.
it's young.
I had
it's
that
real-
question to ask you, and thank you for answering that.
Yeah,
It's a young country,
It's
26.
it's a really young country, and only young people are willing to try out digital solutions rather than go to brick and mortar stores and use that solutions. Yeah, in terms of the acquisition strategy, it's actually interconnected to the first part of the question, just because we're mostly acquiring younger generations. They're all connected through social media. They use social media a lot, and our main acquisition channel is actually social media targeting. It works really well. We're not wasting a lot of resources on marketing. And good thing is also we're growing organically. 70% of our growth is organic. It goes by word of mouth. We don't have any referral schemes at the moment. We're just trying to, we're getting ready to grow, but before that, we want to ensure that product provides the value. It's sticky. People love it. And the greatest marketing is the word of mouth. That's
Excellent.
our target.
And the other question was, so someone is interested, they will Android or Apple, both. They'll go download your app, and you're ready to. How quickly can they become a banking client?
So I would say it really depends on your speed of connection, because in reality, once you download the app, in the 10 seconds,
Assuming it's good speed, right? Yeah,
it's 3 clicks. It's
Three
three
clicks.
clicks away for you to just
But
invest.
the regulatory paperwork submitting, is that
Right.
pretty streamlined in Uzbekistan?
Yes, it was a challenge, and when we were just starting off, we were not able to do that, to streamline that process. But there is a clear trend that everything is going digital, and at the moment we digitalize it and streamline it, everything. Legal part of that, KYC, compliance part of that. So in 3 clicks, we can just invest, and even the customer verification part is fully digital. You just submit your selfie, it goes through API to government service, and we verify you, and we're good with that.
And you'll have the all the regulatory authority, the approvals to operate the bank license. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you able to for the most people know about challenger banking and neobanks. What's the short answer to if they're not clear on what a neobank is, right? What is a neobank?
Yeah, so the neobank is a bank that can offer attractive products by what's the attractiveness means in the product. It's mostly all about the affordability of that. And neobanks could offer affordable product because they are cost competitive. Because most of the operations are digitalized, automated. They don't have a huge personnel of 10,000 of people. They're cost competitive, and they can offer cost competitive product, attractive products in the market. That's the main difference between the neobank and traditional bank, because
And this is all digital, right? You
that-
don't
this-
have a brick and mortar. You don't have
yeah,
all that overhead.
that is all
Yeah,
digital. And yeah, in traditional banking they offer digital products as well, but they have huge cost associated with that because they have huge operations team. Traditional banks have tens of thousands personnel, and yeah, in reality economic doesn't work out in a way that it works out for neobanks.
So basically every expense line or cost line is optimized, including the compliance. So what is the difference between digital bank and digital neobank is that it's super optimized, even the regulatory, meaning that instead of applying for the license ourselves, we just use the other bank's license and share it, right? So that we don't lose 2 years or 3 years of time
So there
applying
is
for the license.
a bigger bank underneath.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's that? Are you able to share who's the banking partner in Uzbekistan?
It's so in Uzbekistan, we are currently working on getting that partner. Currently, we are operating as GPLP, like private equity, and once the regulation is there for Islamic banking, we're gonna get one of the Islamic banks, or gonna be Islamic bank ourselves. In US, we have partnered with one of the banks. We are on the way to partner with one of the banks. It is right now confidential,
Okay.
so
Can't wait to hear that announcement soon.
You're gonna
inshallah.
hear us
Right.
soon,
Yeah.
inshallah.
Okay. Now we'll switch gears, okay? And also my request is speak a little louder so we get the
Yeah, sure,
recording,
Alright.
sure.
The now, very excited about your story. What are some of the accomplishments that or the milestones that you're really proud of, and what are some of the big challenges you had to overcome?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So one of the big milestones was to make Uzbek operational entity profitable. So we have recently achieved that milestone. So and we are.
So you're
very
not
happy.
losing money.
Yeah, exactly. And we basically achieved the level of transactions, or the level of the number of customers we serve and transactions we do, in order to be optimized. And that is the milestone that leads us to the next milestone, to expand, to go to the next market and serve users in other market.
And US is your next market?
US, we feel it, we see it, we analyze it, we see that in numbers, in partners, in level of enthusiasm of Islamic bankers here, professionals, experts. So there are a lot of signs, as we say it, that tells us that US is the next market. And one of the milestones that we achieved recently is that we have won the pitch competition in Harvard. So
When was that?
Like
Last week.
Last
Last week?
Yeah, we haven't announced it
Congratulations,
yet.
guys. Mubarak, yeah.
By the way.
We're very proud of you guys. Yeah.
So yeah, these competitions, we are doing it not for the sake of the prices.
And
or,
that
you
was
know.
that was just regular startups, right? Not just Islamic fintech. Or
They were Islamic, they were regular, they
it
were
was for
innovation,
everybody.
for
Yeah.
everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you all won the contest.
yeah, number
Yeah.
one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And we keep doing it, not in order to, collect on 200K, 250K, what was that, the price, but to increase the awareness around ethical banking, right? And the Harvard was a strategic place for us because, most of the researches, most of the, new things are coming out of these top universities. Um, and yeah, we keep doing it. Like next week, we're going to Saudi, next to Portugal, not just to meet people, but increase awareness about it. So,
And you said you already hit the 100,000 mark, right, for clients.
active users.
Monthly,
Yes.
monthly
Yeah.
active
Yes.
users.
Now, are your users using you as their main banking relationship, or is it what are they using you for, right? Just to park some money, to make some payments, to is there any payroll deposits happening, direct deposit, or all of the above?
That's a great question, actually. So in Uzbekistan, mostly people don't use the banking services as it's here, but they use banking products, and it doesn't necessarily provided by the banks. And in reality, we don't do the payrolls, we don't do the
Cards.
cards at the moment. We're planning to launch that soon.
So that's on the roadmap? Yeah.
That's we're hoping to launch that in 4 months. Yeah, and mainly people use us as a savings account because savings account is quite popular in Uzbekistan.
That's your primary use case.
Primary use
Yeah.
case. We have in Uzbek market we have a bit higher than average inflation rate, but we have really high investment on return that we provide on the savings account. And also we're seeing at the moment that buy now pay later financing option for consumer electronics, for consumer goods is growing at the 30-40% rate per month.
Globally or in your country?
In our country, we're currently operating only in Uzbekistan. Yeah, and the BNPL is a huge market as well in Uzbekistan.
That's your next biggest
Yes.
product. Now, I'm very curious to know how. So someone parks their money,
Yeah,
and they make a profit on it.
yeah.
Okay, and those deposits are used to fund the buy now pay later. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is great. Can I ask what is the interest rate in the riba system in Uzbekistan? What are we talking about? Is it double digit or is it something?
Yeah, it's
insane?
double digit. It's like 22%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really high.
Of course, 22% is like on a credit card or on a personal loan.
On a deposit, on savings.
Oh, that's what they get.
Or that's what depositors get.
Get.
Yeah.
Which means if someone borrows, it's much higher, right? If you take an interest-based
yes,
loan,
yes, it's about 25, 30%.
30%. Yeah. I was talking to someone in Turkey, and they say right now they're going through 50%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It shocked me, right? Yeah. it
There
shocked
are in
me.
the market actually consumers loans that are above 40%, above 50%.
Yeah. But we are
No, and
talking
it
about
depends,
payday
right?
loan. kind
Yeah,
of
payday
schemes,
loans, right? Also, like a poor
Yeah.
villager in Bangladesh sometimes will need money for the day
Yeah.
to go and maybe buy vegetable and sell it.
Yeah.
They are paying 2x, 3x sometimes. It's
Yeah,
a lot of, it is very loan shocking, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, companies like Iman will fix that to a large extent, inshallah. Okay, so this is great, guys. So I got a better understanding of the way your product goes. So what if? So what kind of returns investors can get, or you call them depositors, right?
Yeah, we call them the profit sharing investors.
Profit sharing investors. So what
Yeah.
kind of returns can they expect, or are they seeing?
So currently it's about 13% in US dollars.
13% a year.
13% a year.
And you've eliminated the interest component, right?
Yes, because they are profit sharing. So
And that's the inflation adjusted.
yeah, so it's in US dollars. In local currency, it's about 27%. If they put it in for 2 years, and they are profit sharing, meaning that, for example, you download the app, you put $100, and you are profit sharing with us 80 to 20 ratio. So 80%, whatever the profits we do from trade, from installment trade, from leasing trade, whatever the profits are, we share 80% of that with you after deducting all expenses, taxes, etc. So
and the other 20% is for the platform?
For the platform,
For the
for
platform.
managing the asset. Basically,
Okay,
we
that
are
includes
digital.
the cost of running the platform. And,
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So basically, we are digital asset manager. We are managing the investors' money, assets, and investing into trade. Currently, it's buy now, pay later. Also, we recently launched car financing as well. We're testing it out. We've provided like several individuals with a car finance solution and houses as well. So we are building a one-stop shop for all financial needs, which currently are funded or which currently are backed by retail investors in Uzbekistan. But soon we are going to launch a global investment product. Basically, Muslims globally can invest, and locally we're gonna fund the individuals, buy now pay later, car, house finance, the Muslims locally. In developing Muslim majority markets, there is a huge gap in halal funding.
That's true. See, the irony is, and that can be a separate conversation, even in
Yeah.
larger Muslim countries, it's still a very interest-based economy, right? So that
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm very optimistic about the opportunity, and I was also optimistic because in 2020, when during the COVID shutdown, that's when I started interacting with young entrepreneurs like you, and I saw amazing talent in the Muslim community. Alhamdulillah, whether it was in Indonesia. In the Middle East, I think I got to our first interaction was a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
I think on LinkedIn I messaged you, right? And we've been in touch since then.
Yeah.
And I said these guys are doing something really cool, right? And now fast forward 4 years, you're seeing traction. To me, it seems like you've proven yourself in Uzbekistan, right? Now you're ready for a global expansion, inshallah, right?
Yes.
My second part of my question was, what were some of the challenges you had to overcome? I'm sure there were a ton of them, but what are some of the top challenges that were the hardest that you faced?
Yeah, so because we are built on innovation and our products are new to Uzbekistan market, one of the challenges was GR, building the relationship with the government, with the regulators. Why? Because
And they might have not have understood what you're doing, right? Or were
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
supportive?
exactly.
Or they were like, don't waste our
No.
time, right?
Yeah.
Little guy, right? Get out of here.
It's like it works, the same as with the customers, with investors, with the regulators as well. You need to first explain, educate, tell the story, explain the reasoning, right, behind. And alhamdulillah, they are very, very supportive in terms of that we are building the new product to the market, and regulators understand that innovators are leading in front, and regulatory compliance is just lagging behind and regulate what innovators do. And alhamdulillah, they're looking at Islamic finance as a innovation in banking. Why? Because we are doing banking but different way, new way, right? And soon, in 3, 4, or 6 months time, we are expecting the first regulatory framework for Islamic banking. It's been around 3 years they're working with the consultants from Pakistan, Malaysia, Indonesia, with these experts that did it in other markets. So that was one of the challenges. Another challenge I think my team is encountering is that lack of talent, right? Shahzad is managing the team of AI engineers, PhDs, like the team of data engineers, the team of data analysts, the product analysts, right? And they are super rare. And
In your country.
In our country, yeah. And globally, we were searching, that day after the pitch competition, we were searching for the talents, ex-Harvard, MIT students, PhDs there. And, because we are practitioners, it is not enough only for the theoretical knowledge, right? And you're always searching for that rare talent. And the more, the more demanding you are in recruitment, it is harder to find those talents.
And in reality, for the talents, yeah, in a product we're competing with the fintech, with the banks, but there is the part of the competition that is not that obvious. But for the talents, we're competing with the Google, with the Meta, with the companies like
Or,
that.
or they should I go work for some investment bank, right?
Yes.
And have that
Exactly.
prestige, right?
Yeah.
Or go work with a startup, right?
Yeah.
In a sector that still hasn't got mainstream adoption, right?
Exactly.
We're still in early days, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's twice as. I was also feeling, right. They say building a startup is really hard. Building a fintech startup is harder because of regulatory challenges. Building an Islamic fintech is even harder because now you have to have the Sharia. The scholars will also have to
Yeah.
okay it, right? So yeah. So this it's so the talent you mentioned you've how do you plan to address that challenge? Right? Do you have a plan?
You know,
The recruiting?
it works very simple. You are working at Google. You are a superstar. You are one in a 10,000 engineer. You are getting paid, let's say, $10,000, right, a month. In a year, it's 120K. In 10 years, it's 1 million to 100K, right? 1 million. You're gonna earn 1 million in salary in 10 years. You can get 1 million in 3 years with us. We are offering equity options
Equity options, okay.
to the best out of best there.
So you're not being stingy with the equity.
No, we've budgeted. We reserved 20% of.
This is
equity
huge. It reminds me. Maybe he did it because he was too naive. That Jack Ma Alibaba,
Yeah.
he had 26 people, I think, in the founding team, and he was very generous with the
Yeah.
equity, right?
Yeah.
And I know most founders are very stingy or very like think about it. So I think that's a smart strategy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one more thing, and you guys may agree with this. And with everything that's happening, and this is not a political discussion, but with what's happening in the Middle East and the oppression and all of that, there's a lot of folks in the Muslim Ummah who are thinking, do I want to spend the rest of my life working for an organization whose values are not aligned with us, right? They're okay with the Zulm, they're supporting the Zulm, they're selling technology for the Zulm and the oppression being done, or should I go and do something different?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm hoping that wave will help startups like you because, yeah, maybe you have the prestige of a big brand, but is that organization's values aligned with your own values and your faith?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So on our side, we're not trying to convince anyone to share our values. What we're trying to do, we're trying to be as transparent as we can. So
And kind of attract them.
Yeah.
Right,
So
yeah.
engineers and greatest minds, great people around decide for themselves whether they want to join us or no. So one of the main challenges, we frame the problem in a way that it's all about the transparency. We need to be transparent. We have to be transparent. And you mentioned that, there is a triple challenge, like building the startup, fintech startup, because it's regulated and making that in Sharia compliant way. We're looking at this not like it is a problem. We're looking at that as its opportunity, because as harder the space that we're operating, there are less competition, and making things in a right way, willing to accept those challenges, I think is a great advantage, and we see that over the last few years that it works out quite well for us.
Love that thinking. All right. Now I want to talk a little bit about challenges and the opportunities you've seen in your fundraising experience. Okay. First of all, are you still actively raising money for your startup? Where are you in your fundraising journey? And then what are some of the lessons learned, right? Good and bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this will be very beneficial for, I'm hoping
Other
many
founders.
other entrepreneurs will
Yeah,
listen to your story
Yeah.
and would be entrepreneurs, right? So, and this is going to be, so please, I'm very eager to hear that. Right?
Yeah. So currently we've raised 2 rounds of financing, and we raised around $3 million.
To date, you've raised 3 million to date. Okay.
Yes, to date. Yeah. And currently we are closing in a 1 month time the Series A financing round of 8 million. 5 million.
So your
already
Series A
committed.
will be 8 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
8 million, 5 million committed. The lead and co-leads are from Qatar.
And are you able to? Okay, it's a Qatari, Qatari VC or sovereign money, family office money.
Sovereign managed by VC.
Sovereign managed by
Yeah,
VC. Okay.
sovereign managed by VC, and one of the local banks, Islamic banks here, and local funds in Uzbekistan.
Islamic bank here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you able to share yet? Or no? Okay.
It's
All right. All right.
as of now.
You'll be made
You're
public in
gonna
the
hear
future,
us.
right?
Yeah, you're gonna hear.
But
Yeah.
5 million.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you some of the questions. What was okay? But are you able to share what's your valuation?
Currently, it's between 40 and 50 million.
14, 15 million.
Yeah.
Very good. And I think you're being conservative, right? Yeah. I'll tell you a story. It may not be apples to apples. I was excited about financial services because I work for a leader in the data space, Informatica, and my job was to sell solutions to the banks, right? Like not the mega banks, but the regional banks, 100, 200 billion in assets under management. And I was very fascinated by the sector. So there was this little app that started, I forget the name, Circle or something like that. They acquired 100,000 customers, got acquired by Capital One, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
A few years later, they shuttered it because, right? And this was just an app that would encourage people to save, but they were acquired for 120 million. 100,000 customers, 120 million, right? So
Yeah.
I think they pay a premium, right? I don't think you'll get that kind of money for
In US?
No. For like if you're a social media app or something like with 100,000,
Yeah.
it's not a whole lot. But if
Yeah.
you're a bank or a challenger bank, so this was a few years ago. This was way before COVID. That they were acquired for about 120 million with 100,000 subscribers, right? So this is great. So what are the challenges? Through your early days to now raising fund, was it really hard raising money for Islamic fintech startup, or was it like any other founders, experience, right?
So in the beginning, it's always hard, right? Why? Because of the starting point, right? The first fundraise was hard because we were fundraising in Uzbekistan. We were purely Uzbekistan operating company. We were pre-seed, seed, right? And it was more of a trust round, right? And raising awareness, before raising awareness about what we are building, we need to raise awareness about Islamic finance, about the region we are operating, and about the country, right? And now the situation changes, right? Because the Series A round is not about trust round anymore. It's about the numbers, it's about metrics, it's about growth, right? Data-driven trust, not founder-driven, right? And the future vision-driven. The more you do, the more you build, the more you achieve. Like investors start approaching themselves. Why? Because right now we are valued at 50. Like in 10 years, you're gonna be valued at 50 billion, right?
Of the vision.
Yes, and if they see what you're building, and if they can see what you see, then the situation changes. Investors start chasing you. Investors start approaching you in order to jump into the round, even with a small check, with a follow-on on the next round. That's something that starts to happen, even like after the pitch in Harvard, like several angels approached, trying to co-invest in the round. But like for the fundraise, one of the main challenges is yourself as a founder, right? You need to be very careful with the fundraising, because the fundraising is obligation. It's not the obligation for 2-3 years. Yeah, it's obligation for 7 or 10 years. And you need to be very careful, because you are bringing some people to care about your child, right?
It's like getting married.
Yeah, it's like getting married, and you need to be very careful in terms of the contract you are signing, in terms of the terms you're agreeing on, right? And for the first-time founders, it's even harder, because you didn't screw it before, right? You need to learn really fast fail fast and learn, fail fast, learn, you know, and build, fundraise, sell, market on the go, right? There's no time to sit down and do like, you know, and wait, you know. So I think, yeah, the founder himself is the main challenge.
And I just wanted to briefly add that I think it would be relevant to listeners who are would-be entrepreneurs in Islamic fintech space. Is there is a huge misconception in the world that Islamic finance it's not a business. It's more about the charity, and you can't make money out of that.
Yeah.
And Iman has successfully proved that you can be profitable. I mean, pre-Series A startups, fintechs, it's quite rare that they're profitable. That's why we're targeting the profitability to show that with the data. Let's data talk, right? That you can build a business out of that.
Super. I love what you shared. I wanted to ask you, and we will start wrapping up very quickly. In addition to that, what other advice would you give young professionals, you know, who have opportunities in finance or who are thinking entrepreneurship? Either they want to, you know, grow, be an executive, grow the corporate ladder, or they're thinking startup. As a youngster in the Islamic fintech space, what advice would you give, you know, other youngsters? You take it first, yeah.
Oh yeah, right. So I think it's always good to have this these lenses through which you're trying to identify the problems and try to first understand whether you can solve that if it's in Islamic fintech in a Sharia compliant way. But generally, you know, it's quite a big challenge. And for would-be entrepreneurs, it's better to learn how to build and launch things quickly. Whether you're trying to build your own startup, whether you work in a company or in big corporation, just try to engage with the stakeholders and understand what's needed and try to prototype the solution. It's really good to start as an individual contributor before turning into an entrepreneur and into a manager, into a leader. I think my main takeaway from all this experience would be it's better to start quick. Don't wait to find engineers, hire engineers to fundraise first, but start with the resources that are available to you at the moment, whether it's a very low scale, the product that you're going to build, but it gives you, first of all, and main thing is the confidence that you can build the stuff, that you can deliver the stuff, and this is, I guess, a really important thing.
Thank you for sharing that, Rustam. Your advice to folks, you know, regarding Islamic fintech, and you know, either they're looking, you know, a corporate job or entrepreneurship.
Yeah, to the folks and to the founders that are looking to start off building Sharia compliant, ethical business, I would say that it is very important to build yourself as you are building your startup ethically. Why? Because the startup is just the product the founder creates, the founding team creates, right? And for example, a very little example on that, equity stock options, right? Being stingy is not a feature of Islamic fintech startup founder, right? It is not Sharia compliant in such a way, right? So that is the feature set of the founder needs to be according to Sunnah if he wants to build the product according to Sunnah, right? Because the products we are building, the things that we are doing, the things that we are creating, and you know, like crystallizing, whether it's app, hardware, or anything, is just you know, it's the crystallization of what's inside, of your thoughts, of your mindset, of your thinking, of your value set, So it's very important to always work on that, to be on a, enlighten yourself, always work on your bad habits, bad thinking, always think, what wrong am I thinking, what wrong am I doing, what I'm not seeing, right? And then I think just do, like Shahzad said, just start small and be super small until you find a scalable product, scalable niche, scalable team, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on Rustam that actually everything you build, whether it's like a startup, whether it's a product or media product, it's a manifestation of who you are inside. And extremely important to first of all focus on who you want to be, who you aspire to be, and work on that parallel because everything you build around is the manifestation of that.
Super. I do want to take this opportunity to share that for the folks in Uzbekistan, right? If they listen to this, I'm sure you'll share this. That for the folks who help you guys in your journey in whatever way, right? Whether it's cooperation or they help open doors or something, you've done something phenomenal, right? Because I can see Iman Invest become the crown jewel, not just of Uzbekistan, but of the whole Central Asian region, and then also of the larger Islamic fintech space, right? A beautiful founding team, great story. The passion obviously is obvious, and the very fact that the proof is in eating the pudding, that you've proven yourselves, right? You have a working product. You have that. I would say you have product market fit in Uzbekistan, right? Now it's a matter of going to a bunch of other countries. I want to end with this. Is there any dates for your launch in America? Is it 2025? And is there a time horizon you can give us, right? When you'll have a service available in the US?
I would say it's the 2025 H1.
So first half of
Yeah,
so
it's first half.
it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost it's November. Who this year's gone so quickly.
Yeah.
Shahzad and Rustam, I wish we had more time. I can't wait to do part 2 of this when you've had more success and all of that.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the success on the funding front. It's never an easy journey for a founder, and on multiple reasons, I'm excited. The product lines that you offer, the successes that you've had, the vision that you have, and I hope you never lose that. I think in Silicon Valley there's a dark side that many startups start with all the right intentions, and then along the way, like I hate to say this, but this big ride-sharing company a few years ago, the riders would love to drive, and we enjoyed taking the rides, but now they were so, I would say, profit driven or whatever, right? Now the drivers are like zombies, and I think you know what I'm talking about, right? And even the drivers are like zombies, and the riders have to pay a hefty premium, right? You kill the taxi business, but now you become in many ways as bad as the taxi business you killed, right?
Exactly.
May that never happen to the Islamic fintech startups, right? So our best wishes and duas for your success. I'm sure you'll be coming a lot to Silicon Valley, and I would love for you to. I would love to be in touch, and I'll look forward to inviting you back in the future for another round. Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tom.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So with that, we'll sign out, folks. Rustam and Shahzad, Iman Invest, doing some great things, in neobanking, in the buy now, pay later. As well as what was the third thing I was missing?
Payments.
And as well as the payments, right? Hopefully next time we'll talk more about payments, right? Yeah. So thanks for listening, and do join us for future episodes in this series called The Rise of Islamic Fintech. All right, take care, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.